So I met Corey 4 years ago, and then we didn't see each other for 4 years, and we saw each other again as two totally different people. Where were you 4 years ago?
I was in the belly of darkness. I got off the streets 8 years ago, survived molestations on the streets just to survive, gang life in Hamilton, Ontario. Was almost murdered in gang life. I had to flee that area in Ontario, and I was homeless for 2 years. So my soul got wrapped up like a pretzel trying to survive on and off the streets. I was taken advantage of by many gay men because at that time I had nothing else to do but just to survive. So I was going on Craigslist putting ads out for help, and I had a bunch of men take me in, and at first it was all friendly, and unfortunately, a lot of horrible things played out. And when at that point in my life in Edmonton and Calgary, I was ping-ponging back between both those cities, I really went into a darkness that I never thought that was humanly possible. I lost myself completely. I felt possessed. I felt like I was a demon. I felt like I didn't fucking care who I hurt, what happened before me. And I just kept spiraling down. I eventually got off the streets by the grace of God. I really did. I never even thought that was possible. But the problem is when I got off the streets 8 years ago, I had, such trauma, so many demons, so many monsters that I had to eradicate and heal. And I didn't even know how to heal. So what happened is the court systems picked me up because I had many psychiatric episodes. Such a violent person, a rabid dog. I didn't know how to live. I didn't know how to be a human being. And so the court systems picked me up, and they took compassion on me because of what happened to me as a child and what happened to me in my life. And they gave me a psychologist. Court mandated to see a psychologist once a week for an entire year, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life because it was the first time in my life I ever had any hope or any shred that life wasn't just going to be tormented and it wasn't just going to check the fuck out and get out of here, And so I started learning little bits about psychology, little bits about fatalistic mindset. But to be completely honest, it just was enough to keep me alive. And as I progressed on my journey, I took it for granted. I got into personal training, I did fitness, but I was still binge drinking. I was still fucking around. I was still smoking cannabis. I was still playing with fire. And, as I was getting out of the street life, out of gang life, out of this mindset that everybody's out there to kill me, steal me, molest me, all these horrible things, I finally started finding people that cared about me, and I got into the nonprofit sector 6 years ago. When I got into the nonprofit sector, I was a rabid dog still. I didn't know how to be a kind person. And so I had to mimic the behavior of these people, because when you're in the darkness, like the darkness I saw, all you think is survival. And so I had to mimic and pretend and fake to be these people, these kind-hearted community servants. And up until about 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't even believe that I liked this stuff. I didn't believe I should even exist still, but I didn't know that. And when I met Winston, over 4 years ago, just when COVID was about to hit, I was spiritually bypassing, which means I was avoiding my pain. I was distracting myself. I was, meditating and numbing and not going into my heart and processing and really feeling this pain that was inside and giving it a voice and allowing it to be heard. And after basically losing my house, losing my partner, losing my family, losing everything, I was faced with suicide. And I tried to take my life by smashing my head into a toilet. I know that's graphic to say, and I'm sorry if this triggered anybody, but I was that close to dying. And when that happened, there was an awakening inside of my heart. What happened is I felt a little bit of awareness come and said, Corey, stop. Don't do it. Don't take your life. And I stopped, and I laid in a ball for 8 hours watching Eckhart Tolle, the spiritual guru on YouTube, and just listening to his voice, talking about being present, talking about healing. And I just cried, and I screamed, and I felt probably several years of pain all at once, overwhelmed. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, because it was the first day of my life that I took my healing seriously, and I prioritized getting better and learning and becoming a seeker of answers and understanding that there's this fire in my life and I got to heal it. It's not a part-time job for me, because the darkness kept coming back and trying to consume me and destroy me. And I knew I had to stop fucking around, and I had to take it seriously. And from that point on, I was already working in mental health, but I still wasn't doing the inner work up to about 4 years ago, the deep inner work where you go into your soul and you unload that pain and you work at it with your full heart. And when I started doing that, I put affirmations all over my walls, gratitude on my ceiling. I was reading book after book. I became obsessed with healing. And the more I did it, the better life got. The more I started healing, I started accepting myself. I started being proud of myself, because every single positive action that I took in my life, I started validating that. I started validating what was not validated in my childhood. Getting thrown through tables with my father, getting neglected and violence and invalidated my entire existence. I started becoming my own parent. I started taking care of myself and nurturing my heart and my soul. And as I went through my journey, every year got better. I started thinking differently. My identity changed, the way I talk, the people I surround myself, a total, complete transformation. And every single year from this point on, I become a different Corey. I'm not the same Corey I was last year. I'm not the same Corey I was 4 years ago.
So, take a breath. Thanks for sharing all that, my friend. Where are you now?
I am the happiest and most grateful I've ever been in my life. And I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's ass. I work hard in my recovery, my healing. You know, every single morning I wake up, I know I don't have a day off of healing. You know, and that's not to say you can't relax. You don't have to go balls to the walls all the time, but you do have to take it seriously. And my self-care regimen, I'm waking up, I'm meditating, cold shower, do the sauna, go work out, come back, I do another cold shower, I do affirmations, I check in with myself. I am wired tight because I will never let myself slip back like I was before.
So what is it about mental health that's so meaningful for you?
I understand what it feels like to suffer and feel like your soul's on fire. And when I look at other people, some of the people that I even work with that are here, it breaks my heart. I have absolute compassion for all humanity. Doesn't matter the race, religion, sex, gender, any of that. We're all just human beings. We all suffer, we all cry, we go through pain. And I just want to help because I got on the other side. I know how beautiful it fucking is. It's amazing. And I want to show as many people what that feels like.
So you speak about the darkness for people that, I truly believe we all have darkness at varying levels of intensity. What does darkness mean for you?
There was a time that my eyes were different. It was like I was possessed by a demon. The term hurt people was basically an identity of my life. The amount of debris feel I had with what I've done to my family, what I've done to friends, what I've done to anybody that came into my orbit. I was not a good person before. I wanted to hurt the world because the world hurt me. The world hurt me when I was a child. The world hurt me when I was an adolescent. The world hurt me when I was an adult. And I just didn't care. I lost all shred of being innocent and caring and love, because love to me was pain. And for me, darkness is when love is completely destroyed and fractured, and all you have in your heart is fucking hate. All you do is hate everyone. Even the people that love you, you hate them. You self-sabotage, you push them away because you don't believe in yourself that you deserve or worthy of love. But that is just pain. It's a cancer. It infects your soul. It lies to you, and it's not true.
What's your version of doing the work?
That's a very broad question, but I'll do my best to answer it.
Well, that term's thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
And I have my definition of it, of how I explain it to people. But for someone like yourself who's gone from one end to the other and back and forth a few times, what's it mean for you?
Doing the work is, I'm in powerlifting and bodybuilding in the gym. Like, I love working out. And in the gym, when you're training, you always have to push a little bit harder. Even if it's just 1%, you got to do progressive overload a little bit every single workout to get a little bit stronger, a little bit wiser. And it really does cross over nicely to healing. All doing the work means is that you learned a few more lessons today than you did yesterday. And you believed in yourself enough to keep consistent. Doing the work for me means that every day that I feel like shit, and I still, you guys know my story a little bit that I just shared, I still have, once in a while, that trauma comes back. I'll wake up, I got tears in my eyes, I'm processing, I'm getting overwhelmed. But doing the work is when the pain knocks at your door, you say, hello, come in, and let's go and heal. Acknowledge it, let it in, feel it. Use the tools that you learn or the tools you can learn. Allow the pain to have a relationship with you rather than the pain always seeking you out. Seek the pain out. Healing is seeking the pain out, building a relationship with it, realizing it's not a monster or boogeyman or demon. What it really is, it's your inner child inside of you that's crying. It needs love. It needs validation. It needs all the components that you were never served as a child. You need to give it love. Doing the work is allowing that space to heal and let that pain in and be with it.
Thanks for sharing that. My belief system is the only way to get rid of pain is to feel it. And I say that to people and say, why would you want to feel pain? And I go, I don't want to carry it anymore. It's just, as you said, it's toxic. And we're not meant to carry this our entire lives. For the people that work with you, what's the common thread of why people avoid pain?
The unknown. If you don't know what it is or what's the relation it has to you, then you build fear and anticipation. The greatest reason that I never made space for pain is because when I felt it, it made me feel overwhelmed. But the only reason I was overwhelmed because I never gave it space. I never tried to understand it. I tried to avoid it at all costs. And when you avoid something at all costs, you never know what it is. You never understand it. So I needed to build a relationship of understanding with the pain. And when I realized that it's just me, wounded, hurt, and needing love, all that fear went away. And the very act of healing is self-love. And when I connected the dots to that, I started loving myself more. And the more healing you do, the more you love yourself, the more you accept yourself. You find yourself in your healing journey. It is one of the most phenomenal things I ever learned in my life is stepping through that fucking door is the hardest part. Everything else is so much easier.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, now when the door opens up, it's like, just bring it. Just bring it. Because I know it's temporary. That pain is temporary. Once it's transmuted, it's gone. And then that door's empty. Last question. So for someone that is suffering, that believes that they're all alone, that no one understands and no one cares, that's sitting in a dark corner, and they're the stigma around mental health, reaching out for help, especially as men, reaching out for help, like there's just such a harsh stigma around emotions and just suck it up. Mm-hmm. What do you have to say to that soul that's hurting?
The soul that's closed off. You can't be completely closed off to hear that message, to be completely honest. Because there was a time that if I sat in this room, I would have walked out. I wouldn't hear it, even if I was forced to. But for the soul that has that little bit of awareness, or somebody that has a large amount of awareness that they need help, what I would say is that, yes, there's pain, there's suffering, but there's also a monumental journey. And the journey is you. You get to discover elements and layers to your own human spirit that you never thought possible. You know, the coolest thing I ever learned in my journey of healing was fucking finding my authenticity, finding who I am, my needs, my values. And if I didn't have that trauma, if I didn't have that motivating factor to get better and to learn and to grow, I would have never found my soulmate partner. And I would have never found living in purpose, doing what I do. I would have never found every element that made me me. The journey of healing is a journey of self-discovery, and it's absolutely beautiful. And that's what I inspire with people that I work with. It's not just maintenance to do a little bit of fucking healing and then the pain goes away for a bit and you get some peace. That's called coping. Healing is freeing yourself. And you free yourself every bit more that you step further into the journey, and it's fucking beautiful.